Welcome back, or welcome to my part two. So where I left off was, I don't know, that I was dancing, whatever. Somehow, by the skin of my teeth, graduated high school on time, and I was able to walk with my class. That was like such a huge accomplishment for me. I was super excited. At that time though, one of my mom's good friends, who I considered my aunt, had passed away. And my doctor at the time prescribed me Xanax, and that kind of started downward spiral. And I also at the time was taking Adderall. I was prescribed Adderall, but with my Adderall I would stay up. Like, if anyone has taken Adderall before, you're not hungry, you can't sleep, you're up. And then I'd either take some Adderall, then sell the rest, and then take some Xanax and sell the rest. Started me into my pill journey or whatever. I was always so against pills. My dad's an addict too, and he was addicted to pills, so I hated everything that had to do with it. And I also hated him for doing them. But then look down the road, I turned out the same way. So I graduated high school. I didn't take my SATs or anything like that because I was like, it's too late, I don't want to go to community college, whatever. And I was happy like making money and just working. So I was working for a little bit. I was working in Columbus, then I traveled and I was down in Atlanta, traveled again, I was in Chicago. And that whole time I was drinking, but I was smoking more. But it got to the point when I turned like 19. After I turned 19, that's when I started drinking a lot. Because with that lifestyle, like, you can't do that job sober. Like, I used to be able to before, but like once you get in and life hits you, I did a lot of things that I didn't think that I would do. A lot of things that I'm embarrassed of, ashamed of. But through working on myself and in counseling and with my therapist, I've been able to forgive myself and move on from that. I feel like that's all the things that happened to me during that time period of me in the nightlife scene. I used to use that as an excuse to use. But that's what kept me sick. That's what let me still stay in my addiction, just suffering over and over again, like just constantly, like, sick and tired and tired and sick. Like, it got to the point with my drinking that I would literally drink as soon as I woke up, drink all day, maybe eat breakfast, if that. Breakfast was actually usually noon or 1, or when I woke up so I wouldn't throw up. Or sometimes I would be so hungover that I would be throwing up, like, so, like, I don't even know how to explain it, so badly, like convulsively throwing up for hours on hours. I throw up all the way up until it's time for night shift. And then I was all sobered up-ish. And then I'd start that process over and it would repeat. And that was like every single day of my life. I was miserable. But I put on a good show. I was like, it's okay. Because like drinking was my escape. I didn't have to think about anything. I didn't feel anything. I was more confident. I could talk to people on a different level. Like, drinking took me outside of myself, and that's what I found myself, and most addicts, they like to do, is not have to be present. So I got into my drinking pretty bad. I stayed away from the hard drugs for about a year until I started with Molly back when it was like super popular. Did that for a while. Then went up from there to cocaine and party drugs. I like party drugs because I was an upper at the time. I like to be up, bounce around, yada, 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 whatever. I liked being awake. And something about party drugs just make you feel like alive. Like, I felt like such a shell of a person that I would do anything just for me to feel not how I felt. So that process continued. I got myself into a lot of dangerous situations with my use. I put myself at risk. I put my friends at risk. I know the things that happened to me were not my fault. But I still feel like if I wouldn't have drunk, it wouldn't have happened to me. Like, well, that's what you get when you're drunk. That's what people used to say. And it's just like, if I were sober, would I do that? No, I wouldn't. So a lot comes with that lifestyle. It's not all what it looks like. Everybody sees the money and they get excited, but no, it's not worth it. It's really not, because that messes up your head for a while. And if you're lucky enough to go and get help and want to stop, you have the opportunity to, I would definitely suggest doing it, because I would be in such a darker place than I am now. With that lifestyle that happened, I met some friends along the way, so I thought we're friends. Like, when you were around other people who are addicts, like, you're liars, you're cheats, and you're thieves. That's one thing, though. I would lie and I would cheat and I'd do whatever I wanted. I know for some people, when they get in their addiction, they'll self-harm their families, whatever. I just never did. Like, I think what I hurt them by not being there than being there. I just wouldn't come around. Years ago, I had taken a bunch of Percocets, overdosed. I more fell out, like super out of it, probably on the verge of overdosing, but no. It was, let's say it's January now. I went into, again, not mess, I think it was right after New Year's. I got super drunk, took a bunch of Xanax, and I was out of town dancing. I come back, I just faintly remember fighting with my friend in the car home. I'm pretty sure she took the rest of them or something, but when I woke up, I walked straight to the liquor store. It used to be right in my backyard. When I say in my backyard, I mean like my fence, the back of the store, me. It was a nice little in and out 5-minute walk, and that's perfect for an alcoholic. I consider myself an alcoholic and a drug addict because I'll do both. I'll do whatever is in front of me. I really don't care. So I decided that this is the night. I'm ending it. Well, it's the morning. It's it. Like, I'm done. I'm tired of it. Like, I was fighting with my roommates at the time. Like, I just already felt like shit. Marched my happy self down High Street to the Speedway. I bought the biggest bottle of pills I could find, bought a bottle of wine, and just started taking them back and drinking it. And then, like, my heart felt funny, and I was like, I don't want to die. I just don't want to keep living the way I'm living. So somehow, in between all of that, I had called the squad. I don't even remember that. And then I was in the hospital again for what? The psych ward. Surprise. Like, like, who does that? Anyway, I'm in the hospital, and then they're like, my mom always told me, like, you need help. Like, I know, but I was in denial, like, no, I'm fine. I'm just a victim of my circumstances. No, you're a drunk. I went to, like, this little rehab for a week, kind of a detox, whatever, I don't know. In that time, meeting this woman, I'm the type of person that hates, like, domestic violence. I've never personally been in a physically abusive relationship, very much emotionally abusive, emotional and verbally abusive a relationship. So, like, my heart breaks for people like that. With me and my friends, like, we were all in some type of toxic abusive relationship. And I would be like, I'd rather me get beat up than have to be told that I'm this, that, or the third when I already don't like myself, because that stuff sticks with you. Like, I can get over, I used to be a fighter. I can get over, like, getting beat up and, like, get over it. But, like, when people say certain words to you, that never leaves your head. I still remember when I would get bullied when I was in school. I still remember the things that were said to me. So that didn't help with my self-esteem already. So I met this girl. I let her move in. Things were going okay. I was like, yes, I'm done smoking weed. I'm done drinking. I'm done doing drugs. I'm good. Like a month and a half later, brought some blow around me. Of course, I did some. And that's what kind of got me back again. I thought, no, I can just control it. I'll only use it on the weekends. Then it switched to I'll only use it when I go to work. And I started to go work every day. And then before you know it, I'm selling it. I got fired from my job for selling it. They flushed all my stuff. And I was like, out of luck. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life again. At that point, I was just even going further and further down, like miserable. Like I couldn't keep any solid friendships. I was always just like, if I wasn't at work, I was at a bar or a club. Like I was drinking and partying, and like I could not be sober. Like if I were to drink myself to sleep and I woke up, I will take more shots, smoke more weed, put whatever I have to into my body to keep it going. That was in 2019. So my 2019 summer was rough. Back in another toxic club, toxic relationship. I got back into party drugs again, and it got bad. Like when I was on Molly, I would do it. I would be up on like anyway up to 3 days, up for 3 days at a time. And I wasn't rational. I didn't make sense. My friends couldn't stand to be around me. I couldn't stand to be around myself. Like I was getting on my own nerves, and that's how you know it's bad. Like. So, for some reason, I had went out of town to go dance because I'm not allowed at any club in Columbus at that point. Because I either got fired for drinking or fired for doing drugs. Go figure. And somehow I got out there. I couldn't get my way home. I had called my mom in the middle of the night. It was like, I remember it was a Sunday, and I was super drunk and like all messed up, and I was like fighting with her, telling her that she didn't care about me, whatever. This woman drove almost 3 hours to come and pick me up. When I say I love my mom, and I'm just so grateful that she stuck by me and she didn't give up on me, and that she kept getting me out of my situations. Shout out to you, Mom. But yeah, I came home. I remember, I don't know how long between that period, I think it was maybe a week after that, my sister had gotten out of the hospital, and there was a number of things going on in my life. I'm the type of person, I can't deal with my feelings. Like I don't want to feel nothing. Don't want to feel shit. I will drink myself to sleep, or drink till I don't remember, or do anything to not have to feel the way I feel about myself or about anything in general. Because I'm a very sensitive person at the same time. Like, I put on a good exterior like I am, like, I don't care, but the worst part is I cared way too much. For some reason, she was, like, down the street from my house, and it was 8 in the morning, and I was already drunk, like, drunk. I'm trying not to cuss. Super drunk. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, you have a problem. And I broke down, and I decided, like, you know what? I'm going to go get some help. I was doing hard drugs, but nothing had fentanyl in it, as far as I knew. So I didn't really have any withdrawals. I went into the famous OSU Harding for a 3rd time. Then after that, I knew I needed more treatment. I needed more help. So when I went into the hospital, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I was like, nobody cared about me, but I put myself in that situation to where people didn't want to be around me. But I couldn't see it at that point that they still loved me, but they just couldn't stand me. So I went to rehab for 40 something days. Didn't talk to anybody. I was with some amazing people. I really thought I had it together. I decided that I want to go down. I went into October 10th is when I was admitted. I got out right the day after Thanksgiving, and I went straight down to Florida. I came to First Step for the first time, and then I stayed all the way until February 3rd. So I spent about 4.5 months in treatment. Like, I got it, I knew everything, like, I'm good, just like let me get out. Okay, like, I was sober, I started a job, I actually liked my job. COVID hit. Oh, if everyone thought they were dying, I thought I was gonna die. Whatever. I started working from home, and I stopped going to meetings. Because one thing about being in recovery, they suggest you have a sponsor and you go to meetings. And I got a sponsor after I was almost 5 months clean and didn't really care. After I was quarantined, like, I think twice, I was just miserable, and me and my friends decided to get drunk when I was in halfway. Like, I dug myself out of the pit I got myself into, and little did I know I was going all the way right back to where I started. Ended up living with my friend in an extended stay while we waited to get an apartment. We were there for about 1.5 months, and then that's when I just started drinking. I was drinking and drinking, then I got back into coke again. And then I moved home with a friend. A lot of stuff happened that I'm just not gonna even talk about. Eventually, that was in May, beginning of June. The end of May, I came home and I was back down by July 1st. So many drugs during that time. Then I get down and I stay. This is July of 2020. I get out in August. I'm like, okay, I'm good now. I got this. Halfway for 1 month. Being out to a 3/4 way with somebody who was a friend at one time. Of course, we go to the hotel because I wanted to get high. That's when shit got real. Harder drugs at that point. My birthday came in October. I was doing alcohol and a bunch of cocaine. Went home for Thanksgiving, came home in December, and that's when I had an overdose. I overdosed in December off of fentanyl. I just remember falling out. Like, I got out of the shower and I tried to go cook something in the burner, and I just remember like falling into it. Like, I couldn't see, like my vision was going in and out, and I fell back and my body was just heavy. I fell back and smacked my head on the table, and then my friend came in the room and she was like smacking me in the face, trying to get me to throw up and wake up. And then I just went out of it. Then I came back a week when I was in the squad, and I went out of it again. And then when I got there, like, being down here in Florida, it's like the recovery capital, but it's also one of the biggest drug places too. Because every single street you have a sober living house, you have drug dealers waiting to get people drugs. So they Narcaned me, and that was the worst thing of my life. I went into instant precipitated withdrawal. I felt like literally my veins were on fire. I was like throwing up so bad. I ended up getting Baker acted. I don't know, like what? I don't know what it is with me in psych wards, but I've been to way more than one person should in their lifetime. I think this is number 5. Stay there overnight while I'm like, so when you go into precipitated withdrawal, it like makes you vomit and stuff. It's like if you were to take a Suboxone, like when you still had opiates in your system. So I had opiates in my system, but they had to Narcan me so that I wouldn't die in my sleep. And then they took me upstairs on the psych unit floor. I didn't even have my phone. I didn't know what was going on. I slept in a chair, woke up, and then they're like, you can leave. Called on a payphone, tried to figure out what was going on. Got picked up, and that night I was high again. Yep. I got high that night, went home for Christmas, and in my profession, you have an open enrollment period from like November to December. So during that period is when I was using drugs really heavy. I was working like 12-hour days. I was trying to stay up, just constantly doing drugs. And then January, I went home for Christmas, and I didn't do drugs. Lying. I didn't start off doing drugs. I ended up linking up with a friend, and I was there home from Christmas to New Year's. I went on a 3-day bender again. I accidentally did meth for the first time. Like, I don't even like that. I went from an upper to a downer, but I did meth thinking it was, first said it was coke, then it was Molly, then it was meth. So I'm on a 3-day ride. I drive from Ohio to Detroit to Chicago to Detroit to Ohio in a matter of 3 days. Mind you, I didn't sleep. Like, I'm thinking like, okay, I did some coke, because we got there that night, left straight for the road, and we're there, sat there all day long. I did like a little bit of coke, and then got back on the road, went all the way out to Chicago. That was like 4.5 hours. Came back, still didn't sleep. And then I'm trying to go to bed and smoking, and I'm like, why can't I sleep? I stopped doing coke like 12 hours ago. And it hit me. I did meth. I was like, what? But why stop now? Because I've done every single drug besides LSD and acid. I ended up coming home. At that point, I had tried to get some perks, but once you start doing fentanyl, you don't even, like, it didn't do shit for me. I was pissed. I was like, $40 and I'm not even high? What? What? And then I was like, yeah, I need to go to sleep. I came home, slept for a day. It was New Year's, and I was like, I'm spending it with my family. I even got alcohol, and I didn't even drink it. We spent it at my grandpa's. I was like, I'm not gonna drink this year. I'm not gonna do drugs this year. And then by the time I got home, my friend offered me what I liked. More miserable, even more suicidal for like 2 days, and I decided, like, all right, I'm gonna go to detox. Third time, that's the first step. Detox for a week, because I wasn't going to rehab because I didn't have a problem. I just needed to stop using for a week, then I'd be good. Got out. 2 days later, I was high. 11 days later, I go back. That was January 27th. I was in treatment from January 27th all the way to like the end of March, like 2.5 months, about a little under 3 months. And that was what I needed. I did a lot of work on myself. I dealt with my traumas. I dealt down to the root of my problems, like figured out like why am I the way I am, like, and me realizing that like I'm just an addict. Like, I was in such denial about it, like that I'm not an addict. If you had the life I lived, if you had to go through what I do, you drink too, whatever. But it's proven that like my body does not break down drugs and alcohol the way other people's would. There's people that can go out and drink and put it down and not even finish their glass. That's my mom, if she drinks. Or can use coke successfully on the weekends. I wish that were the case, but I can't. I can't. And I accepted it because I tried every single way. Every single way. Every single way, and it didn't work. Oh my God, I tried. And in AA, it talks about switching from wine to brandy, taking trips, not taking trips, like trying every possible way to use successfully, and I always ended up in the same place. Did a lot of treatment. My family came down. I did some therapy with them as well, and I got out. Since I've been out for almost 3 months now. Yeah. This getting sober my first time, I got drunk on my 6-month anniversary. Who does that again? Like, come on. So now, God willing, on the 28th, I'll have 5 months. I never made it past step 1 when I was getting sober my first time. This is now, I think, my 4th time trying to get sober. And I'm on my 4th step. I have a sponsor. I have a home group. I have a commitment. I'm literally doing everything they say. Because I don't want to die. Like, I don't. Like, if I keep living the way I was living, I'm going to die. Like, I thought I would not be the one to overdose. Like, I'm different. Y'all just don't know how to use correctly. Like, you were just doing too much. I know how much to do. No, this much fentanyl. That much. And I was out like a light. So, my point being with all of this is, don't do it.